Okay, hey, Tanya Janca.
Hi,
Good evening. Where are you in the world at the moment?
I am in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada,
We've
which is
got
a,
we've been invaded by Canadians on this conference.
I know,
You
I
know,
know. Well, it's winter here, so a lot of us can't go outside.
that's fair because you get proper weather in Canada.
Yeah, well, not where I am. I'm in like the Cheater part of Canada, this beautiful island just above Seattle. And so we don't have snow, and the rest of
Shit.
Canada is booing me right
That's
now.
like near White Rock, right? Like that area?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And we joke that we are Canada's Hawaii.
Very nice.
There you
Very
go.
nice.
If you like rain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I happen to know that if
Mhm.
we were Polish,
Right.
Mhm.
we'd be pronouncing your surname Janca.
Janca.
How cool is my knowledge?
It was very cool. It's very
It's
cool.
like somebody told you that.
It's
It's
mysterious.
unbelievable.
How long ago did you learn that, Mark?
Literally minutes. But listen, Tanya, please do us a favor and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do.
So, my name is Tanya Janca, and on the internet, I'm sometimes called She Hacks Purple because I am a purple teamer. So, I was a software developer who met a hacker, and that hacker convinced me to learn about security. And then the more I learned, the more interested I got. And I ended up discovering that I sort of like to do blue team, which is defense. I like, working with software developers and helping them write more secure code, like teaching them about the cloud and how to do things more securely. But then I also still really like breaking stuff. And that's red team, where you attack things. It's still really fun to smash stuff. And so because of that, people informed me that means I'm purple team, which is, kind of the application security field where, you do threat modeling, figuring out all your attacks, but then, you work with everyone to ensure that everything, you have these big hardened defenses and layers of defenses, and your app is really strong. So hence She Hacks Purple. And I do all sorts of things. Sometimes it's hard to explain all the things that I'm doing, but I do a lot of community stuff because it makes me really happy. Helping others makes me happy. Other people teach me things, I teach them things. And the InfoSec community, since I joined a few years ago, I can't believe how welcoming they are. There's a couple people that are jerks, as with every single group of humans ever, but mostly everyone is just like, we're so glad you're here, Tanya. Thanks for coming.
How many of them are Beer Farmer members?
So 100% of Beer Farmer members have been wonderful.
Okay, good.
Right.
Just a little check.
And also all of the Many Hats Club, wonderful.
Good.
So I've been running this thing the past year called Mentoring Monday. And it's an online, basically so I write a blog and I speak at conferences, and I like to do research and then share it on the internet. And people would write me and they would say, hey, will you be my mentor? And I would say, no, I can't, because I'm already mentoring some people. And if I take on more people, then I will have no time for any of them. And I'm a perfectionist and feel like I'm a crappy mentor because I never feel like I'm giving my mentees enough time. So I'm sorry, I can't. And then they'd be really sad. So then I know, and then I felt so bad. And like some of them, I'm like, you're just so awesome. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, but I want to find them someone. So then I started this hashtag called Mentoring Monday. And so every Monday I tweet, are you looking for a mentor? Or do you want to be a mentor? Do you have are you this senior person with this wealth of knowledge that wants to contribute back to our industry and move our industry forward by bringing someone from a junior to an intermediate, or someone from outside InfoSec into InfoSec? And the community has responded so strongly. It's so amazing. People are reaching out to people, suggesting books, meeting with them, etc. And so every Monday I do this, and more people are responding. And so realized recently, though, that if people don't follow me, they might not see it.
Right.
And that, so I put this poll on Twitter, and I was like, hey, everyone, should I make it its own handle, or should I keep it under me? And then everyone responded, you should keep it under you. And then, of course, I decided not to listen.
Of course not, because that's the beautiful thing about Twitter.
Well, I thought about it more and more and more,
Yeah.
and I want it to outgrow me, if that makes sense. So I can retweet it every Monday, so everyone that follows me gets it. But if it has its own handle, so for instance, like let's say someone is really, really, really into reverse engineering. I basically never talk about that because I'm not very good at it and it's not my area of expertise. And so if someone's really into reverse engineering, they might not want to follow me and see, all of my other posts every other day of the week, just so that they can see potential mentoring opportunities. So if it's a separate account, then they could just follow that one. And then I can still retweet every single thing it does. So everyone that follows me can still see it. It's not lost, but maybe it could eventually become huge. And so this wonderful human named Elias offered to help me. So if other people want to help with it, because the WOSEC tweets account, so Chloe was on earlier, and she was talking about WOSEC, Women of Security. So I have help with that Twitter account too. So it used to just be me. And I just wanted to retweet nice things about women.
Okay.
Because it just makes me happy to just tweet congratulations and that's so awesome and good job. And I felt like if I just did that only from my account that's supposed to be about AppSec all the time, that it would be uneven.
Right.
And so I made its own account for Women of Security, but also just tweeting nice things at women, because I feel like there's people doing the opposite of that, and that maybe it would be okay if I just say nice things to people because it makes me happy and it seems to make them happy and it's win-win, right?
Yeah.
And so then that account has grown, and there's tons and tons of followers that it has that don't follow me, and that's awesome. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of awesome to see something that you created, and then so I have all these other women helping me run it. So I have 2 that answer all the messages, and a bunch of us that all just retweet. If you see anything cool that a woman in security is doing, just retweet it from our account so everyone can see and we can amplify her. And
Really?
And so then the account can outgrow me, even though it has less followers. The followers that it has are people that really, really like that and really want to see that. And so does that make sense? In regards to branding, it's better.
So I will say that it does. And here's the major thing. I know what happens when Mike tries to comment or put a tweet out about football.
Correct.
And his followers go batshit because they're expecting, application security because of his title. So I think the idea of more micro-targeting in Twitter with your handle is good. I know that Beer Farmers tried a similar project where we randomly accused security researchers of belonging to strange APT groups. And that wasn't quite as popular.
Hashtag just for fun.
Just for fun, yeah. And so please tell us that you're not trying to replace yourself with a bot in 2019.
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
No, definitely not. No, right. I'll still be very tweety.
Okay.
So one thing.
It's a good question, though.
Yeah.
We're actually using the very platform that I was going to suggest that you reach out to. So Stu, CyberSec Stu, has done a tremendous job, and there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, especially with students, CTS and that. So my recommendation is, if you need advice on that, CyberSec Stu is a great resource. He's done significant amount of work on this type of thing. So it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I will reach out. Thank you. That's really helpful.
That's us, the Beer Farmers, helpful.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Tanya, I'd like to ask you a question about application security.
Okay.
Right, so I'm going to bring it down to boring level now. I do apologize. But, so you're an ex-software developer.
Yes.
And you met somebody that did security, in your own words, and then you became interested and involved in security.
Mm-hmm.
So let's assume that application security is where your heart is originally.
Yes.
Tell us what you think about the current AppSec landscape and the things that we've got to worry about maybe in the next year, couple of years, 3, 5 years. What do you think?
I think that we have a lot to worry about, unfortunately. I am really not concerned about job security.
We hear that a lot.
Yeah, that's a common theme.
Yeah.
So a few things. So one, we still aren't very good at the old types of application security. So we still see cross-site scripting in most apps. We still see, like things that we shouldn't see anymore, that OWASP has been harping on forever. And the other thing is that we are moving forward. So IT is moving forward. But AppSec is like, I don't know how I feel about that. So things like, people are moving to the cloud. Well, apps live in the cloud. So we have to figure out how to do security there.
Yeah.
Or single page apps. So none of the AppSec tools work worth a damn on that. Like they stink. Things like, for instance, like serverless apps where they just appear for a microsecond or a few seconds or a few minutes per month or per year or whenever. People can still catch those. I know, because I've seen them, right? And it's cool when, bounty hunters talk about it on podcasts and how they made this huge payoff because they caught one and exploited it. But instead, I would rather developers be aware that even if it's just there for 1 minute per week, that it still needs to be secured, because malicious actors are smart too. I wish they weren't, but they're really smart.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have to assume they're really smart because they keep proving it to be true, and we have to react accordingly. And so I feel like we need to do more with education in regards to software developers, and more in regards to like support and giving them tools so that they can be supportive. Like all those soft skilly things that IT professionals are not known for being awesome at. We have to, as security people, I believe, we have to like if there's 100 or 200 or 300 software developers and one AppSec person, which is often the case when I go consult somewhere, you can't just work really hard. You have to work smarter, and you have to make, allies and relationships and programs and all of those soft skilly things that our industry is not known for being awesome at. I'm not saying that none of us are awesome at it. I'm just saying that as an industry, we're not fantastic.
I think that's a fair assessment. I see that, I see that the further along folks go in sort of technical competence, it seems to come at a cost of business acumen. And what's interesting is the folks with the most business acumen tend to work in the softest side of the technical. So I'm talking about, IT PMs or IT business analysts, or even the threat intel people who obviously are close to my heart.
Yeah, it's true. Sorry, Tanya, but going back to your point about the change in the paradigm of software delivery. So back when we were all children, which in me and Ian's case was about 1962. I'm just kidding, 1952. You wrote software in whatever your desired language was, or whatever framework you were working against, and then you copied and pasted files onto a web server.
Yep.
And then and then you started your web server, whether it be IIS or Apache or whatever.
Start Apache.
And then shit just worked.
Well.
Yeah, and then a little bit later on came this concept of continuous integration and continuous delivery and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden you popped your software into a build infrastructure, and things happened, and things like Team Foundation Server emerged, and all of a sudden we had things like source control and all that kind of shit. And then more recently, like right now, we have the concepts of containerization and all that kind of stuff. And like you say, microservices and things that just pop up and do a job and then disappear. And all of a sudden, the developer needs to think, I hate the term, but full stack. So they need to begin to think not just about their runtime application. They need to start thinking about the entire pipeline. They need to start thinking about building the infrastructure as part of their deployment and all that kind of stuff. And it starts to take you away from just simple concepts like XSS and like getting your security headers correct and all that kind of thing, into the realm of, is my infrastructure secure? So am I deploying using a robust TLS configuration, which typically in the past would not be a dev's problem. It would be a sysadmin's problem or an infrastructure build engineer or something like that.
But Mike, I'm going to harp on one thing and say it's even lower down the stack than that.
Yeah, okay, man.
Just getting the dev environment to be either an absolute copy of production with a sanitized database, right, or not having a common database for dev and prod, which you know is out there. And you know, a lot of this, you know, I hate to harp on it, but it goes back to architecture. It's not really software development that is the issue. It's sort of the lack of best practice implementation in terms of like segregation and all that. So, you know, I think that devs that come into the marketplace that can talk about issues like you talked about, containerization, source control, but also have a basic understanding of architecture best practices, are going to be really employable. Tanya, do you want to dispute that or support it? What do you think?
I really, really agree. If anything, I feel like academia is really far behind. And I know that in most fields, they're a little bit behind, but when it comes to IT and specifically as it relates to security and especially the security of software, they're just like, it's not even really applicable. And I had a school, a post-secondary school that will remain unnamed, try to recruit me. It was almost like a comedian sort of like moment, like an IT person would watch this and then laugh so hard. He was trying to convince me to develop, you know, like a 120-hour course and teach 2 times a week plus lab time plus marking and then create this entire course, and then they would own it. And he was offering to pay me 4,500 Canadian dollars, which is like probably 2,000 British pounds, to do all of that. And I was like, per week? And he's like, no, like for the whole thing. And it was like, that's slave labor, sweetheart. And also I could just, if I'm going to do that for almost free, why wouldn't I just do it for free and share it with the whole world? Why would I allow you to own that information? And the guy's like, I have been given the most impossible task. The guy that had this job before me quit, and like, no one will come work for me. I felt really, really bad for him. But I told him, and I'll do like this small amount of self-promotion. So I'm writing a book called Alice and Bob Learn Application Security. And the idea is going to be that like any software developer or any IT person could pick up this book and then be like, oh my God, I get it. And Alice and Bob have little adventures. They have their lives and like how things apply to real humans. And so that's why you actually need this security header, because this bad thing could happen to Alice, or like, you know, Bob has a pacemaker, and, you know, what if Bob's pacemaker, you know, the integrity is incorrect, etc. Right? And so it's like the most basic security concepts, like least privilege, etc. And then like building up to, you know, like, so you're building an app, like what do you care about? What do you need to know? But written in more casual language, because I suck at textbooks.
That's
so
perfect. So you say, sorry, Sean, just quickly. So a Canadian book, you say?
A Canadian book, yes.
So it's going to be called Alice and Bob Apologize to Each Other for Local File Inclusion. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
That's brilliant.
That's my joke for the day.
That's killer. You're killing it.
Oh my gosh. It's actually an American company that's going to publish it, Wiley Books. But basically, like, So you never make any money when you write a book, like you don't actually get paid very much. But you write it because you want it to exist, because I want to be able to hand it to all the people that I consult for and say, please share this with your software developers. Because yeah.
Go on, Sean, we're nearly out of time.
Just quickly. So one of the things I've seen developers have zero knowledge of anything security, and they can go through an entire course, university career. Do you think those courses should have security baked into them? I think I already know the answer, but also do you think companies should have some sort of gates that, hey, you haven't had this, so you must go on this training?
Okay, so yes, I absolutely believe that it's borderline criminal that academia feels that they have the right to teach someone to create things and not how to make sure those things that they create are safe. Like if a trade school taught electricians how to do electrical, but then not how to ensure that the electrical they did was safe, and then houses just sometimes burn down.
Yeah.
That would not be allowed, but for some reason it's okay that we teach people how to, create like embedded software on medical devices, but then we don't teach them how to make sure they're secure, and then someone hacks someone else's part, right? So I think that's wrong. That's part of why I'm writing the book. I want to like make a course online that's free and just kind of like mess with, the establishment. Because I'm like that. Like if they're not going to offer to pay me money, I believe $4,500 Canadian dollars is almost like an insult for that level of work. I'm just like, I'll just put it on the internet for free. And the poor guy that was trying to interview me, he just put his head in his hands. I'm like, I'm sorry. But like, I'd rather everyone have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely fine. Listen, Tanya, we're out of time, I'm afraid.
Yes, I know.
But it's been super, absolutely fantastic having you on.
Thank you so much for making me a part of BeerCon 1. I look forward to BeerCon 2, 3, 4, etc.
Yeah, not in my lifetime. But yeah, thanks very much indeed for getting involved. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. I look forward to listening to the rest of it.
Not much left now.
Am I the last one?
No, we've got a couple more who we're about to introduce. But yeah, awesome. Tanya, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Have a great rest of your time.
Cheers.
Thank you.